Welcome in for the 8th time to a victorious edition of the Pacific Office Automation Postgame Scoreboard Show. The Ducks winners once again, the number 1 team in the land, takes it out on the Illini. The number 20 ranked Fighting Illini this week, 38-9 your final score. Oregon still undefeated. Ryan Buckley alongside the big O-lineman Will Ortner. Schulte behind the glass. We will hear from Anthony Newman, Dusty Hara, and Andy Dirt Johnson today. But Will, the first thing we always talk about is, did it look the way it was supposed to look?
Yeah, it did.
I think it did.
Yeah, it did. You came out fast. You get up 14 early. You give up a little field goal, but then you really just pound it through in the second quarter. 3 scores, 3 touchdowns. You did it on the ground, throwing the ball. You look great. You got one blemish that really stands out to me. Otherwise, you were basically perfect from Gabriel. And then I loved how the defense played. I mean, they're just suffocating. They got Illinois off the field in quick 3-and-outs because the way that Illinois was going to stay in this game is that they got a couple stops. You turn the ball over here or there from Oregon. All of a sudden, it's a rock fight. It's an old-fashioned Big Ten football game. Lots of punts, lots of turnovers. And Oregon just didn't let them do that. And this is a good Illinois team. They're going to be a 2-3 loss team this year. They're going to finish ranked. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be in a pretty good bowl game. And you just beat the tar out of them. Yeah. And this game was over at halftime. It's how it needed to look. You're the number 1 team in the country. Show everyone why you're the number 1 team in the country. I loved it.
Schulte, broad strokes, like what's your report card for this game? It had to be pretty not very anxious for you in there.
No, I'd have to say like A-. Just in the minus is because of a couple of dumb penalties that
for sure.
Made some drives be extended for Illinois. Of course, that basically led to their touchdown. What was it, like a 15-play drive? You could kind of sense Oregon's defense just getting a little bit tired because whenever you're out there that long, it kind of sucks, and you will most likely give up a score. But literally, other than those like 2 or 3 little warts, the most physical team I've ever seen Oregon be. Watching them come out today and act like a true Big Ten, true SEC team, that was one of the things that impressed me the most. They really, along with the front 7 we've been talking about, Dan Lanning really, trying to shore up the trenches at Oregon. Look at Noah Winnington. 2 power runs, basically, one into the end zone.
That was
God,
awesome.
Smoked that safety.
I thought Jordan James was supposed to be the power running back. No, actually, Noah Whittington has that ability as well. Even without a couple of guys starting for you, you saw Jaden Lamar coming in. You saw Kenyon Sadiq filling in quite well for Terrence Ferguson. But then also what really stuck out to me was just how smart Oregon was. I was telling Will this before the show started, but 3 different times today, I saw Oregon's defense specifically figuring out the play that Illinois threw, or that they were going to put out there, and then that actually one of those times was when Illinois' quarterback threw that interception right to Tyseem Johnson. Just seeing the defense know exactly what Illinois was going to do, and their preparation so good. Yeah, A- for Oregon today.
There are times where I feel like this defense is like a pack of wolves stalking their prey or something like that. They just it seems like, and we're going to talk about this with Anthony Newman coming up next, but especially in the secondary, it feels like there's all the talent there, but there's also all of the knowledge and the technique and the understanding of what the plan is collectively. And what that's led to is, and you saw it here today, and Schulte referenced it, but like Luke Altmaier's having a really good season. Yeah. 15 touchdowns to only 1 pick, over 1,000, like 1,300 yards passing. He's having a really good season, and they made him look awful today. He was just barely over 50% passing, 161 yards, 2 picks. One of them was really bad. And it seems like this defense just causes people fits all day, and they just don't stop. For God's sake, Oregon got a sideline warning in the 3rd quarter because everyone's so hyped up, and it's like it's a 35-3 game, and nobody is relaxing and nobody's holding back, and I love that about this team. And I feel like it's a good indication they're not resting on any laurels, that they come back after being the 1 ranked team, and they just take care of business. They look the way things are supposed to look. I know we were talking about the defense there, but Will, the other thing that I'm starting to feel about this offense, and I don't want to get over my skis with confidence here, but I'm starting to wonder who's going to stop them the rest of the season offensively. and obviously you can have your hiccups. You can go. Things can get disjointed, and injury pops up here and there. But I look at the options they have, their ability to run the ball. If somebody wants to, I almost would invite teams to stop the run against Oregon, because it gives you one-on-one matchups in the passing game, and it feels like that's where they can really make their hay. But whether it's on the ground or through the air, it feels like Oregon kind of does whatever they want now.
Yeah, well, again, we've beat the point to death at this point, but the O-line is fixed.
Mhm.
The O-line is right.
Yep.
The O-line is where they need to be. You finally have your center, and he's got everyone on the right track, and that's why you're seeing the growth, because you're also seeing the trust from the running back room and from the quarterback. Not having to worry about getting hit from behind, not having to worry about getting sacked. Trusting. I mean, the Tez Johnson touchdown, I think I got to 8 Mississippis before Dylan Gabriel threw the ball. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like, I know they only rushed 3, but you took care of business to the point where I think Dylan Gabriel could have drank a cup of tea and then made the throw. Like, it was great. The other thing that I'm noticing that I really like is the emergence, or I should say the reemergence of Noah Whittington.
Yep.
His ability to catch the ball out of the backfield with speed, and now, just like Schultz said, I mean, running over a safety into the end zone. Your job as a running back is to get put one-on-one with a safety and make him miss or run through him. As an offensive line, there's always going to be at least one that we cannot get to. And you have to make him miss. That's why you're on scholarship. That's why you make the big money in NIL. That's why you get the cool sponsorships and not, the pancake sponsorship that the O-line gets. And Noah Whittington, he's working back through an injury, and it can be difficult to do that. And especially with a knee injury where you're such a shifty runner and you have to be able to make one cut and go. And that's what Whittington was so great at. And early on in the season, it's like, does he have it? Does he have the speed? You can clearly tell that he's getting healthier and stronger and more confident week by week by week. He had 7 rushes in this game, but he had 56 yards and a touchdown against a defense that literally put Penn State, their running game, in mud. Penn State is one of the more physical running teams in the country, and they couldn't run. Then he catches 2 passes out of the backfield for 20 yards. Oh, and another touchdown. Noah Whittington, Jordan James is still your guy, and no one loves themselves some Jordan James more than me, maybe Russillo. But if you can get that second running back that teams have to account for, and he's completely different than James in the fact of he is more of a speed guy, you just continue to add another wrinkle that teams have to prepare for. You can load the box to try and stop Jordan James. Well, then they're going to throw in Noah Whittington, and they're going to get him in space on screens or just running routes out of the backfield. Right now, I just love what Noah Whittington's doing.
Yeah, you look at what he did today, and you mentioned it, but a combined 7 touches for 86 yards. He's averaging about 8.2, 8.3 yards every touch. I mean, that's going to be just fine. And there was even a point of the game when he was getting so much run, I was wondering if something was wrong with Jordan James, if he had been nicked up for some reason. And it feels like now it's just how the rotation's going. It may not be every other series. They may give a guy 1, 2, 3 series in a row to kind of get warmed up and get going, and then let the other guy in there. But I think when you have this, it's kind of the perfect scenario. It doesn't lead to the gaudiest stats for both of those guys, but I think that if Noah can perform like this, he's going to get a lot more run and continue to build himself back. And it also saves some mileage on Jordan James, who's been an absolute beast for you early in the season, and you're going to lean on in some of these November games when you're going on the road, or playoff games when you're trying to wear other teams down. And so this is the perfect scenario where you now have a reliable 2 that you can really lean on, and you can still let your number 1 eat. I absolutely love it.